Hello dear creatives, welcome to another interesting online tutorial. My name is Adiola and I'm going to teach you how to make a beautiful crinoline veil technique. It's super easy to make, and this is another design or technique that you can add to your beautiful headpiece, your fascinators, your heart. Crinoline is such a versatile material that you can manipulate anyhow you want it, and this is just one of the amazing techniques that you can work with crinoline. So I have my crinoline right here, and this is the 6 inches width crinoline. I have my thread, I have my Alice band, the thin metallic Alice band, and I have my rubber wire right here. You can also call it plastic wire. It's actually a millinery wire, but it comes in the form of plastic, and it's very useful to give your crinoline that standing effect. Okay, and you need your UHU and my 0.30 mm fishing line, which I'm going to be using for using as my thread. And I have my bead needle. Bead needle is that tiny needle that your fishing line can easily pass through, and I'll be using these beautiful flowers right here as my top embellishment. So quickly, let's go right into the tutorial. I'm really excited because I can't wait to see how this comes out at the end of the day. But of course, we're going to create something nice with what we have right here on my work table. Alright, the first thing you want to do is to cut out your crinoline, and I'm going to show you the measurement of my crinoline length. Don't forget, this is 6.5 inches width, and the length of my crinoline is 19 inches long. Okay, 19 inches long, and I'm going to tie both ends using my thread, and that is why you need your thread to tie it. Bind the edges together like this, and then you tie as tightly as possible. So when you ensure that it's properly tied, you can then tie a knot and cut off the excess thread, which I'm just doing right here. I'm going to tie one last time. And that's it. So you repeat the process on the other end right here. So you want to ensure that your crinoline is looking like a canoe. Can you see how bent it looks? So you don't want to tie one end facing upward and then you won't tie the other end this way. No, you want to tie both ends facing the same direction. You repeat the process. You get your thread, and then you tie just the same way I did for the other side right there. So when you are done tying, that is when the UHU glue comes in place, because it helps the edges of your crinoline to stay together, to bind the phrase together. So you don't want to leave it like this. Okay, it's not going to come out looking good at the end of the day. So you want to use your glue to bind those edges together, and I'm just going to do that shortly right after I have cut out my thread. Awesome. So there you have it, and I'm going to just apply my glue this way. Just rub it a little to the frayed parts like so. Leave it to dry, and you repeat the process for the other side. Okay, so you leave it to dry, and then you just rub it to ensure that the edges are tightly, like closely knit, just to ensure that I can't touch it right now because it's not yet dry. Okay, I think this, all right, this is dry. So I'm just going to rub it in like this. So you notice that they are coming together more, unlike when it was just all over the place. You repeat the process for the other side like so. and then you just cut off the excess. Can you see it's looking more compact, like when it was just there, it was looking so scattered. So now it's looking more compact. Then I'm going to cut off the excess right there. So there you have it right there. Can you see? Awesome. So now let's move to the next step. So the next thing you want to do right now, after you have binded the two edges, is to attach your plastic wire to the edges. Now I have done one edge right here. If you look closely, the wire has been attached to this edge, and I'm just going to repeat the process on the other edge, and that is what I'm going to show you. So you insert the wire into the crinoline edge right here, hold it firmly, apply some glue, and then you use your thread to bind it together. So easy, right? So I apply a little bit of glue right there, and I have my thread ready. Okay, so I have my thread ready, and I'm just going to bind the wire together with the crinoline right there. Can you see? Okay, so the wire helps the glue helps the wire to stay in place. That's just basically what it does. And I'm going to bind and tie a knot before I start to use my fishing line to attach the wire to the edges of the crinoline. So now it's time for me to start attaching, and I'm going to start from the very tip right here. Okay, and then I'm going to just go ahead and start to do my stitch. So you can do like a blanket stitch, you know, like a knot type of stitch where you go in and out, in, and then you tie a knot before you pull. That would work. Okay, just ensure that your wire is staying in place on the crinoline edge. So just go ahead and watch me as I do this. It's very simple. Just pay close attention and just repeat the process, and of course you will get the same outcome. So now the next step after attaching the wire to both edges is to attach the crinoline piece to the Alice band. And I have attached to one end, and I'm just going to show you how to attach the second end. The same way you attach the first, it's the same process in attaching the second one. So you're just going to place it towards the bottom of the Alice band this way. Can you see? Okay, ensure that both edges are properly aligned this way. Okay, and you want to have your needle and thread, like your normal hand sewing needle for stitching together. You want to have it ready, and once you place it like this, you want to attach or apply your glue on the Alice band. Why? Because as you tack these two pieces together, you want to ensure that that stitch holds for a long time. So I'm holding it in place like so. All right, and now I'm going to start to stitch. I'm just going to be going in and out, over and around the Alice band, just to ensure that I am securing the crinoline to the Alice band. Easy does it. Just take your time and ensure that you stitch it properly and make sure that it's secured before you cut off that excess thread. So just go ahead and stitch like I'm doing. Okay, and if I turn this the other way, this is what you're going to have right here. Can you see that? So I'm going to stitch over and across the Alice band. Just go in and out, and that's it. So I'm going to continue to stitch this down, and when I'm done, then we can move to the next part, which is just to use our flowers to ensure that we cover up the upper parts, just like as seen in the picture. And you can also decide to cover up your Alice band if you prefer your crinoline color. Let's say this is white, for example. You can just get like a trimming to wrap up your Alice band first of all before you start any work at all. So that's also fine. So if you want everything to be matchy, it's fine. It's fine. So that's up to you anyways, and your embellishment so depends on what it is that you want. So I'm going to continue to stitch. I hope you're enjoying this class, because I am. I love to impact and teach. I just love to share my knowledge, and I hope you're having fun, and I wish you can just take some time to just try out many of the things that you have been learning from me, and just to improve your skill. And I look forward to seeing them. You can just post them and tag me at Aliot by Ruby on Instagram, or you can just reach out through the contact number on your screen. So I would love to just see what you've been working on. So here you go. Can you see how it looks like? So beautiful. I will tie my knots right now, then we can move to the next stage. So right now I'm taking off the flowers. I'm taking the flowers off the stem so that I can just arrange them the way I like. I'll take everything off, and then I'll start to glue them in place just as I like. And I'm going to be using my hot glue gun for this part. So just apply a little glue, and then I start to attach. So easy, isn't it? Yes, that's how simple and easy it is. But of course, you can never tell until you try it out. So embellishment time is my favorite time. Like, I just love to get creative with my embellishment. So I'm just going to glue this all the way around to the upper parts of the crinoline veil and leave this lower parts open. Now don't forget that I said you're going to use like a knot stitch, like a blanket stitch, but I figured that since I'm not going to be covering the lower parts, I'm only going to be covering the upper parts. The blanket stitch was actually showing my fishing line, and I just stopped at this point. I decided to just go in and out without tying any knot. So if you notice, this part is smoother. If you look at it very closely, can you see? It's looking very smooth compared to this other side right here. You notice that, right? So I would suggest that as soon as you tie your knots at the beginning, just go in, out, without tying a knot. You go all the way down. That is for the lower parts. So you can tie a knot up here, because of course you're going to be covering it up with some flowers, which I'm doing right now. So it's embellishment time. Just go ahead and watch me as I creatively attach my flowers. So I covered the inner part because you don't want it to look rough, and that's just it about that part. Then I'm just going to continue all the way up right here. Just glue my petals bunch them together so that they can be full, depending on the quantity of the flowers that you have. If you don't have enough, you can just attach it, sparingly, just to ensure that you cover the whole part all the way down. Now this is what I have right here. Isn't this amazing? So beautiful. Like seriously, it's so nice. And the good thing is it expands and it fits into any head size, even as a child, an adult. It's one size fits all. And can you see how it looks? This is the side right here. Beautiful. And this is the front view. Right, I really love that curve. That curve is so amazing. Wow. So I decided to combine white with pink because that's the flower that I have available. You can decide to do monotone, like just use the same color for everything. But all the same, try something else, and I look forward to seeing your own design.